My first background vocals, though, I have to go back to that, was with Peter Tosh when I was 16 or 17, one of those age. I'm not too sure. I was at sixth form at St. Andrew High School for girls. So I was either 16 or either 17. I was in sixth commercial when I did background vocals for Peter. So I don't know if because of that, people thought I could do background vocals. So there's a time I was just like this, one of the studio girls, you know, when you hear listen like this reggae month, they're playing a lot of Dennis. I did a lot of work when he was at Music Work with Dennis, but I think the one that I think stood out the most is the one with Gregory Isaac and Dennis Ragamuffin. And I always hear my hair distinctly. I always hear myself distinctly. You run things here. And he run things everybody. Moving. So I always hear myself and go, wow, those days. I sang on Shabba Project. I sang on Maxi Priest's project. I sang, did I hear a guy that I said, did I sing on that? Like I sang on so many songs that I don't even remember. We just was hopping from studio to studio to studio.
So, okay, at this time here, because you said you met Peter Tosh after, because I guess when you first met Bob Marley, the Wailers had broken up at that time there, so you hadn't meet.
Wailers never broke up. The Wailers with Peter, Bonnie, and Bob. When I met Bob was a solo star. But in terms of the Wailers, the band that was backing Bob, them never broke up. They were still, I think they were still playing around the world. I don't know what happened. I hear something happened with some members leaving. I never really paid much attention to that. But yeah.
Okay, so then you didn't meet Peter or Buddy at this time here now.
No, I met Peter after Bob transitioned, and he asked me to come and sing on Nuclear War album. I have to tell this story because this is such a beautiful story. Peter went to my father and asked, Mr. Sutherland, can Nadine come and sing on my album, Nuclear War? Okay. Listen, then chat out kind of thing about Peter Tosh, but you see me? In my head, Peter Tosh is one of the most beautiful human beings. I remember being so nervous at that session. My legs were shaking. I was nervous because the only time I sing background vocals so far was with Miss Daisy down in Above Rock, singing at church, the blood that Jesus shed for me way back on Calvary. I was an altar, and one was a tenor and one was a soprano. I was like a little picnic because I could have hold my harmony. I could have hold my harmony good. But in a professional setting, that was the first time that I was doing anything like that. And I was extremely intimidated. And Peter Tosh was so gentle with me. And it's something that I will never forget. So when I know Samir said Peter, the original rude boy, you know. And I don't think he was a rude boy. He was a rebel, because there's a distinction, you know. He would not, I don't think he harmed anyone. But I think that when it comes on to his rights, you know, he will fight for his rights. And fighting for his rights looked like he got beaten up many times by the police, thrown in jail, and all of that. But anybody who knows Peter Tosh will tell you one thing, what a beautiful human being he was. Anybody who really knows him and knew him and worked with Peter will tell you he was kind, he was good, he paid. He was a good person.
Yeah. And how long did you actually work with him for?
I just worked with him on one project, which was Nuclear War. The thing about it is that he wanted us, me, JC, and Pam Hall, to tour with him. Nuclear War album. There was some friction that happened with him and his record company. So by the time we recorded it, it was not released when it was scheduled to release. It was supposed to, I think it was in 3 years after it was released. And he wanted to tour the album. And me, Pam, and JC was supposed to tour with him. He asked us, and actually we were supposed to be called the Archangel. Yeah, the Archangels. Okay. Peter, I know, easy. And I was in New York. I remember distinctly. I think I was 20 and in New York waiting on the call to come and rehearse. I was leaving New York to come to rehearse. It was September. There's a year that my Auntie Dale got married, because I went to the wedding. I was like, okay, the next thing now is go back to Jamaica to rehearse with the crew to go on the road with Peter. And all I could hear was that Peter Tosh got killed. Peter Tosh died. I couldn't leave my bed for one day. But just staying at the bed. It was just I was so stunned. Yeah.
What's so crazy with your career? Remember, at this time you said you're what, 20?
I think I was 20. Yeah.
Okay,
Sometimes I lose things there. I've done so much, like speaking about myself this last year, speaking about my past.
Mm-hmm.
I'm even like amazed at the amount of stuff that I've done because it's just ridiculous.
Because look at it this way. Now at say 12, 13, you lost Bob. Couple years down the road, you lost Peter. It's like, how did you feel? How did this make you feel knowing that you've lost two extremely instrumental people in your career at this time so early?
I don't even know. I've never really gotten the chance to process it. You know, the funniest thing, like, I processed something like this when Bob ended dead last year. And I was about to go see Bob. And I'm like, I started humming to myself, good friends we had, good friends we have lost along the way. Just thinking about people in the music industry that I've lost along the way that I've known, not even in my family. I've lost more people that I know in the music industry. Fatis Burrell, that I've worked with extensively, Bob Digital, recently, Bob Andy recently. And I'm like, damn, girl, you've been to a lot of funerals. I just like, it's just so many people that I've known that I have that just go, Garnett, people that you work with, and you end up a virgin in some way, and then them just die.
This podcast is brought to you by www.twolinedmusica.com.